Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is December 14th, 2024, and we are getting into the volume 226 of me answering your immigration related questions. As always, before beginning this video, I'm going to mention, as I mentioned in every video, I am not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information provided in these videos on this channel are directly from official government sources like uscis and of course Department of State with their visa bulletin. So let's start with the very first question for today. It is from Wakar Safi. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. I have a little confusion. In my visa, it's written upon endorsement serves as temporary I-551 evidencing permanent residence for 1 year. Does it mean that I already have my I-551 stamp? If no, where will I get the stamp upon arrival, or should I make an appointment in USCIS to get the stamp? We'll really appreciate your answer and help. Thanks in advance. Wakar Safi, thank you very much for your question. That's a great question. So your immigrant visa is an I-551 stamp. It becomes a temporary permanent residence once you enter the United States, and that's what they mean by saying upon endorsement. So when you're entering the United States for the first time with I-551 in the airport, you're going to present it to the Customs and Border officer, and once they stamp it saying that you entered the United States through the port of entry, that's it. The I-551 stamp, that is your immigrant visa, that is in your passport, automatically converts to a temporary permanent residence card, which is valid for 1 year until you get your actual permanent residence card. So great question, thanks for asking. I'm gonna post my response saying that your question was answered in volume 226 in a little bit once I'm done with this video. All right, let's move on to the next one from Shashipal. Again, sorry if I'm mispronouncing. F3 sir, 16 July 2012. I'm from India, please answer how much time. All right, let's take a look. So your F3 chargeability area India, and I'm assuming that's your priority date. All right, so let's take a look at the visa bulletin. If you haven't seen for January 2025, the visa bulletin is already out. I've done a video on it a couple of days ago, so check it out. You can see the movement from December visa bulletin to January visa bulletin. So your F3, you're in India. I'm gonna look at graph A, final action dates, which shows when your immigrant visa becomes available, approximately how long. So right now we are looking at July 2010, which is actually pretty good news because India seems to be current with the rest of the world, and along with China, unlike Mexico and Philippines, unfortunately. So July 2010, and you are 2012. Oh, you're July 2012. Okay, so you are, let's see, 2012, that's 2010. So you are you're exactly 2 years. You're exactly 2 years, in the backlog, roughly 2 years of wait time, roughly, because, visa bulletin, sometimes it moves. Normally, it's a 1 month, every month movement. Sometimes it moves faster, sometimes it moves slower. It's really hard to comes out. We are checking the results. But as of right now, 2 more years until the availability of your immigrant visa. And then once your immigrant visa is available, then they schedule the interview, and of course there is some wait time for the interview itself. And they can be, in India, obviously, because India has separate chargeability area, the wait time is going to be longer than usual. So you are potentially looking at, additional year and a half, for the actual, interview line. All right, let's move on to the next one from DD24. Hi, sir. Thank you for your explanation. Every time it's over a year since the graph B priority date move for F1. Do you think it will move in the fiscal year 2025? And when will the graph A move faster as expected? Any explanation of that? DD24, thank you very much for the question. That's a great question. So we can only hope. Unfortunately, there is no specific, trick to predicting. We can only look at what has been happening with the visa bulletin, but it's not an indication of what is going to happen with the visa bulletin. The only thing that I wanted to mention with your question is that don't rely as much on the graph B, because graph B is a reflection of graph A, and when you see the movement on graph A, it doesn't always reflect the graph B. For the graph B, it takes a few months before it follows the movement of the graph A, because the faster they have, they're processing, they're issuing these immigrant visas, they're catching up with the backlog, the more they can open up NVC portals and say, all right, we're catching up here, so let's open up another batch of portals so that people can get started with documentary qualification process. So that's kind of a little bit, so that people are not discouraged about the graph B, because yes, a lot of times, it does not update as fast as the graph A. But at the same time, you see some of the months there is no movement on the graph A, and from the previous movements on the graph A, you have the updates of the graph B that are coming out. And that's how sometimes you see no movement on graph A, but graph B, some movement. So yeah, as you can see, it's really, there is no predicting. We can only hope for, and January has been pretty decent update, compared to some of the recent months with the positive movement. So yeah, all we can do is just keep checking every month and see what happens. All right, let's move on to the next one from Andanet Mikonen. Hi, IR1 from Ethiopia, documentarily qualified September. When I expect immigration interview, I'm assuming, or immigrant visa. So the great news is that you're in immediate relative category, which means your immigrant visa has been available for a while now, ever since your I-130 was approved by uscis. And since you have been already documentarily qualified in September, which I'm assuming September 2024, we're talking September, well, not counting September, October, November, and we are in the middle of December. So it's been about 2.5 months. Roughly, Ethiopia, honestly, because you have the immigrant visa is already available, what you can do, what I definitely recommend you do, is reach out to the US Embassy in Ethiopia. And let's see, I can pull it up. Ethiopia. Let's see, there you go. Here you go. No phone number there, just a switchboard in Addis Ababa. Well, let's go there directly to their website. And here you go. Here's their phone number. So reach out, let them know that you are in immediate relative category, that you have already been documentarily qualified in September, and let them know that you just want to see if they potentially can give you when your interview has been scheduled, because I'm pretty sure it has already been scheduled. You just don't know it yet. They don't announce the interview up until 30 days before the actual interview, because you have to do the medical examination within the 30 days. So let's say if your interview is scheduled, for example, for July 2025, July 1st, 2025, you will only find out in June 2025, which is, it's a little bit frustrating, but they do it because, you have 30 days for, the medical examination, so they cannot officially announce the interview date. But unofficially, sometimes just be polite over the phone. Don't be demanding. If they say no, we can't give you that information, don't be upset and just say yes, no, not a problem at all. Maybe you can ask. If they say no, we can't tell you that, maybe you can ask and see if they can tell you how long it takes approximately in general for people with immediate relative category for their interview to be scheduled. Most of the times, on average, it's about a year. It can be less than that. It can be a little bit longer than that. In the countries where the immigration traffic is heavier, like for example the countries that have separate chargeability areas, like India, for example, in Philippines, the last I heard, it was about 2.5 year wait just for the interview. So it can be different, but it doesn't hurt. try to reach out and ask them. Just, like I said, if they don't tell you, or if they tell you no, don't be too upset. All right, let me post a link, and I'll clarify in the comment when I go through all of the comments and respond with an update for the volume 2026. Not 2026, 226. All right, let's move on to the next one from Nareen. Thanks for your info. I am in the F4 category, rest of the world, documentarily qualified October 2020, priority date August 6, 2007. How long do I have to wait for my interview? Thanks, Nareen. Thank you for your question. Let's take a look at the visa bulletin, see what's going on. So you are in the rest of the world, so all chargeability area. Let's see, F4. You're already documentarily qualified, so we're looking at the graph A. And right now for all chargeability, we're looking at August 2007, and you are somewhere close. You are in August 2007. All right. So August 1 and you're August 6. So as of January, you're August 1, you're August 6. So honestly, whenever it comes to days in difference, I don't know if they're looking. I'm pretty sure they do. Because at least from my experience, whenever it comes to dates and wait times and like things like EAD, clock, they're to the day. So I'm 99% sure that, unfortunately, that annoyingly particular to the day as well. Which means that in January, because this is January visa bulletin, it's gonna be on August 1st, 2007. So people with August, up until August 1st, 2007 priority dates, they are going to be current. And you are in August 6th. It's annoying. It's annoying because you're 5 days away. So that means you are gonna have to wait up until February 2025 visa bulletin, and hopefully there is movement on there and you are within that current. It's annoying. I feel frustrated for you. But on the plus side, you've done pretty much all of the waiting, the biggest portion of waiting that is necessary. And that takes a long time, and I can personally relate to your case because I myself have a petition for my brother, and we have like 13 more years to wait until he is current on visa bulletin. So I can definitely relate to that. You're very, very, very close. Hopefully we will see the movement of at least enough for you to get in within, being current on the visa bulletin. So keep checking. If you don't know, on this channel, I don't know which video you commented on. Yeah, you commented on the answering questions. On this channel, I do videos where I go through all the visa bulletins. So yeah, we will see February. Hopefully, you're gonna get in within being current. All right, let's move on to the next one from Arsenia Canless. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. Hello, my kids to wait visa interviews. Arsenia, so in order for me to tell you, well, kids. So here's the thing. It depends. If you're a US citizen, then your kids under 21, considered children under the USCIS, no, that's not USA, that's the Nationality Act from the Department of Homeland Security. So, if you're a US citizen and they're under 21, they are in immediate relative category. So, the immigrant visa is available immediately once the I-130 is approved. Obviously, they have to go through the documentary qualification process. Obviously, they have to be in line and wait for the interview to actually be scheduled. From my previous responses, you probably already know, but I'm going to repeat it. It's about a year on average. It can be a bit longer, it can be a little bit less, depending on how busy the immigration traffic is in particular country where US Embassy is. Now, if your kids are over 21, depending on, again, your status, whether you're a US citizen or a permanent resident, they go in one of the 4 family preference categories. If that's the case, let me know which family preference category it is. Let me know the priority date when the I-130 was filed with USCIS, and the chargeability area will be helpful as well to see where you're in the world, just to make sure we're looking at the correct graphs. So let me know these 3 pieces of information, and I'm gonna get back to your question, and we'll try to give you a little bit more details. Just make sure for everyone who is watching these videos in general, don't respond to my comment within your comments, because YouTube does not send a separate comment under whatever video, and it will show up on this wall. All right, let's move on to the next one. F4 petition for my sister. Scheduled interview on January 27, 2025. Nice, congratulations, that's awesome. In Philippines, it took 22 years of waiting. Finally came. First, she need to do medical. All right, but I have a question, please. If the visa officer ask her, did you apply for visa? What's the answer? Isn't it yes? Thanks. Esther, so thank you very much for your question. I'm trying to understand. So are you referring to the immigrant visa that is in question, the family reunification basically case? So yeah, if that's the case, the petitioner, you're petitioning for your sister. She petitioned for your sister. So when when your sister goes for an interview, let's say, I don't know, it's a little bit of a strange question to ask, but even if it is asked, have you applied for a visa? And she never applied for any kind of visa except this case right here, she can just answer, yes, my sister in the United States of America, she petitioned for me to come to United States of America. So that would be the answer. But if there are any kind of visa applications that she had in the past, and if that's what you're referring to, then yes, of course, absolutely. If there were any kind of visa applications, always answer yeah. I mean, you don't have to remember exact dates or stuff, but yes, always provide that information, because they can't see it all in the system and they might, verify. But again, most of the times these kind of trick questions, most of the times, at least in the cases that I've personally seen, they don't ask trick questions whenever it comes to family reunification cases, unless it is family reunification cases between spouses, unfortunately. Because there's a lot of fictitious marriage type of stuff going on. They can ask some trick questions, and to make sure that the marriage is valid. But whenever it comes to siblings, whenever it comes to parents, kids, they don't ask trick questions. The only one thing I would recommend, in addition to this, is that make sure she takes care of her medical as fast as possible. The sooner the better. She still has another, what is it, January 27th, so we're in December, so more than a month, but the sooner the better, just to make sure, because for the process, the way the process is, the doctor, they fill out all the form, and they actually have to send, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times, they have to send the finished conclusion or whatever of whatever it is they're doing to the consul, and the consul needs to receive it before the interview. And I have seen the cases where the medical examination was done before the interview, like 5 days before the interview, and the person goes for an interview, and the consul says, oh, we have not received the results of medical examination, and we have to reschedule the interview, which is super frustrating. So you definitely don't want to be in that situation. And also, if you can, I would really appreciate if you can come back to this channel and in a separate comment let everyone know how long you waited just for the interview after becoming documentarily qualified. How long your sister waited for the interview to actually be scheduled after not becoming documentarily qualified, sorry, but after the immigrant visa became available, after she became current on the visa bulletin. That would be helpful for a lot of people from Philippines. All right, let's move on to Another one, there looks like there's a comment to this comment from Nareen. Just tell her to speak the truth. If she tells lies, they will definitely deny her. She waited such a long time. Truth is everything. They have everything on record. Yes, that is definitely true. Let's move on to the next one from Vicky Lathy. Hello, my spouse had EAD back in 2012, so Employment Authorization Document, 2012-2013, when she was on L2 visa. All right, her EAD is expired. All right, her last name was before marriage, last name as per that time passport. Okay, she's now on H4 visa. All right, so and her last name is changed after marriage last name. Could you please tell me whether we should select a new application or renewal in section 1? Her latest passport is also now having after marriage last name, but social security number carries her before marriage last name. Please advise about the application type and last name that she should use. Vicky Lathy, thank you very much for your question. That's a great question. So I'm assuming it is completely separate. So she had the EAD based on the L2 visa. It expired way back. I think EAD is issued, well, way back then. I think they were issued for, well, depending on the status, it was either 1 year or 2 years if I remember correctly. But it is expired way back in 2012, and now she's applying for EAD based on completely different status, which is H4 work visa. So yes, to answer your first question, it's going to be the brand new application. It's not going to be the renewal. As far as the last name, in the brand new application, use of course the new last name. There is a portion in the application where it says other names used. In that section, definitely add the name with the previous last name, and also if you can, if you have, you know, the copies of the old passport, make sure, you know, once they request it, or if you're filling it out online, I'm pretty sure I-765 is available to file online. Let me double check, just because they keep updating these forms, I cannot even keep up with them. All right, so here's I-765. Yes, so it is available to be filed online, which I definitely recommend. Filing online makes it a lot easier. And once you are done answering the questions online, you will have a section that will allow you to upload the documents. So yeah, if you have the scan of the old passport, just to show them that, you know, it's the same person with that, you know, before marriage last name and after marriage last name, it's completely fine that it's not updated on Social Security. In fact, a lot of states, they don't even, you don't even need to update the documents, even with the whole name changes. When, let's say, a person, you know, becomes naturalized and they change their name completely, first name and last name, there is no requirement to update some of these things, and you can keep some of these documents with the old name, and they're still going to be valid as long as they're not expired. So yeah, you definitely should be good to go. All right, let's move on to the next one from Rasama Bafar. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name. F2A priority date August 20. When can I expect the interview date? I'm a refugee waiting to join my wife and son who are US citizens. I'm documentarily qualified a year ago. All right, that's awesome. So you are already documentarily qualified. Priority date August 2022. F2A. Let's take a look at the visa bulletin and see what's going on. So you're Ethiopia, chargeability, all chargeability area. So right now we are looking at January 2022. Well, as of January 2025. So in the future, we are not here yet, but let's see where you are. You're in August 2022. Okay, so in January, so this upcoming January, on the January visa bulletin, you are going to be about January 22, August 22. So that's about 6 months, roughly. About 6 months in the backlog on the wait list for the availability of the immigrant visa. Roughly 6 months. So yeah, so once you're current on the visa bulletin, that's when you can, that's when the interview is scheduled. Again, like I've been mentioning before, there is still some wait time after your interview is scheduled, that you're waiting in line for the interview. But yes, you have about 6 more months before the actual availability of the immigrant visa. All right, let's move on to the next one from Mariama Jallo. Hello, sir. It's been a while. How are you doing? Thanks for asking. Doing great. I have been current in the visa bulletin in F2B category. How long can I wait for my interview? In Senegal. All right. In Singapore. Okay, so F2B category, you have been current in the visa bulletin in F2B category. So in Senegal, well, depending on how long you've been current. If you have been current for at least 2-3 months now, reach out to them. Let's see. So Senegal, SN, I'm pretty sure it's Singapore, but my geography is just as bad as my math. So let's take a look. Let's see what's going on. Senegal, there you go. No. So Dakar in Senegal. So SN, I'm assuming SN stands for Senegal, not Singapore. Sorry about that. You see, my geography is terrible. But the good news is that there are some options. So if you've been current for about 2-3 months, the reason why I say 2-3 months, because about 2-3 months after you're current on the visa bulletin, as long as you're documentarily qualified and all of that is out of the way, chances are they already scheduled your interview, because they schedule it pretty quickly, usually within the first couple of weeks, but sometimes depending on how busy the US Embassy is, it might take a little bit longer. But if you've been 2-3 months, then they already definitely scheduled the interview. They just did not announce it to you because they have to, they can only announce either 30 days, most of the times 30 days, and sometimes 60 days. Seems to be that in Philippines they schedule 60 days most of the times, but all the way around the world, as far as I've heard, 30 days. But what you can do is you can reach out to the US Embassy in Dakar and let them know that you have been current on the visa bulletin for 2-3 months, however long, and that you're already documentarily qualified, and that you wanted to see if they can give you the information whether or not your interview has already been scheduled, and if it is, for when. If they say no, we cannot give you that information, you can say, okay, not a problem at all. Can you tell me how long approximately people wait in F2B category with, who are current, whose immigrant visas are available? If they say no, well, no problem at all. For everyone who's watching, I always say these government agencies never argue, never try to prove, even if you know you're right, which most of the times people know their cases better than someone who simply looks into something and still no point to argue. You can only make things worse, so don't do it. If they don't tell you, that's fine, but like I've been mentioning before, on average about a year and a half potentially wait times for the interview. So again, if you've been current, let's say for 3 months, it means, well, potentially you have another 9 months to, depending on how busy the embassy in Dakar is. So with that being said, I'm going to invite everyone from anywhere in the world you are. In this case, if you're from Senegal, if you had your interview scheduled and you know how long it took, please answer. That would be really, really helpful for everyone who's watching, because that's really the best way to find out, is from other people who have been, going through and finding out that information. So let me copy this. I'm gonna post a response here. Link. There we go. All right, so let's take care of the last one. Looks like there's 2. From Boots Vibal 7072. So F3 category from Philippines, priority date March 2002. Let's take a look. F3 Philippines. Oh, you're in March 2002. Are you in March 2002? March 2002. And this is already in November 2002. Wait, so March 2002. So you're beforehand. So you're already current. and maybe potentially you have been current for a while. So again, depending on how long you've been current, your immigrant visa is already available because you're current. Depending on how long it's been available, your interview most likely is already scheduled. You can do the same thing. You can reach out to the embassy in Philippines. In Philippines, I'm pretty sure they have couple, but I think most of these cases are in Manila, Philippines. Let's take a look. I don't know, it looks like there's only one, at least on this website. So, which is an official government website, don't get me wrong. This official government website. But I was pretty sure there was at least a consulate, another one in Philippines. Maybe not, maybe I'm wrong, again. Anyway, here's their phone number. Reach out to them, let them know that you're already current, and let them know how long you've been current, and ask them, see if they can give you that information. If they can't, don't argue, pointless. I know Philippines, they have separate chargeability areas, so the embassy is quite significantly busier than other embassies around the world. And last I've heard, people in Philippines, they waited as long as 2 years for these interviews. But again, these things, they catch up, or something happens and now it takes longer. It's all, if someone a couple years ago waited 2 years, 2.5 years, today they might be, it might not be as long of a wait. So the best way to find out is from other people who have recently had their interviews scheduled and how long they waited. So again, if you're from Philippines or wherever you're in the world, let us know. If you had your interview scheduled, let us know where you are, which category, and how long you waited, because that's going to be helpful to a lot of people. So thank you very much everyone for watching. Hopefully my answers were helpful. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions and I will be happy to address them. Thank you very much everyone. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next one.